I'm on. It's quite loud, actually. So, running away. I want to first start with some statistics that really show what a problem running away can be. Because would you agree with me that when you hear the term running away, you assume it's got negative connotations, yes or no? Yeah, so we always assume it's negative because these are the sort of statistics. Now, there's a real contrast here because this first statistic, every day between 1.3 and 2.8 million, that's huge, that number, isn't it? That's from America. So that's a really awful statistic. So obviously this is why we believe that running away is a negative, has these negative connotations. Now I've got some statistics from the UK, and they reckon 100,000 in a year. So I was a bit confused by the statistics. But what I also recognised is that it's not just children and teenagers that run away. We run away as adults as well. So what do I mean when we run away as adults? We do procrastination, we do lots of biscuits, we do lots of Facebook. We run away from the things that we are stressed about. So, what I wanted to talk to you about today is about procrastination and how it's actually going to really kill our dreams. So when we think about running away now, we can look at what procrastination is and how that means that we're running away from what potentially is going to bring out our brilliance. So what Dee was just talking about, what we need to do to stop being so realistic and start having a bit more fun, start enjoying life a little bit more. So in 2006, I was in India. And I was in a train station in Tiruvannamalai. And I'd just travelled all the way down from Bombay, so it was a very long train journey, and I had a change of trains from Tiruvannamalai down to Kanyakumari. So I had a 90-minute break between trains, and I sat down at the train station. And as I'm getting off the train, actually, before I sat down, I just got completely surrounded. Bags, madam, taxi, madam, chai, madam, samosa, madam, just surrounded and completely inundated with these requests from men on the train platform to help me. That's what they wanted to do, to help me. But I was fine. I'd had chai on the train. I'd had some food on the train. I'd just got off. So I wanted to just sit down and relax until my next train arrived. And it was dusk. It was a beautiful time of day. The sun's just setting. And in India, I don't know if you've been to India, but at sunset, suddenly, the atmosphere is full of smoke. So they put lots of incense on, they burn lots of things, and it's to keep the mosquitoes away. So there's this smoky, dusty station, there's far too many men around me, and as a single white, tall female, I really stand out in the crowd. So I was completely surrounded by men, and suddenly I see this little Indian lady come pushing her way through, and hello, Marion. So she said, hello, young lady. I'm Sister Lawrence. So this is where I was going. This is Sister Lawrence. So Sister Lawrence says to me, so what are you doing here? What are you doing here on your own in the middle of India? And I said, well, I'm actually on my way down to Kanyakumari. Oh, great. What are you doing? What are you going to Kanyakumari for? I said, well, I'm, just traveling. You on holiday? She said. I said, no. I'm actually traveling around India for a few months. Oh, for a few months? What are you doing in India then? What do you not have a job? I said, yes, I've got a job in IT, but my job's a bit soul-destroying. So I like to spend my time traveling as much as I can. So I'm quite fortunate. I get quite a good income from my IT career, and then I can spend a lot of time traveling. Oh, so what are you doing here when you're traveling? Why are you going to Kanyakumari? And I said, well, it's the southern tip of India. Just looks like a really interesting place to go, right? And I've heard there's a beach. I quite like a beach. So why Kanyakumari? Why are you going there? I said, well, it's the southern tip of India, and it's got a beach. But why? Why are you going there? Well, it's the southern tip of India. And I'm thinking, I really want to run away from this woman right now, but I can't because she's my savior, because I'm surrounded by all these men. So this conversation really, really inspired me because this woman had such an interest in why I was there. What was I doing there? So think about it when you book your holiday or when you choose to go somewhere. Why do you do it? Yeah, we're running away from work usually. So that's a good thing to be running away from. But why do you go to the places that you go to? Is it because of the price? Is it because of the length of the journey? Is it because you've been there before? What are the reasons why we do what we do? What are the reasons why we choose to run away in the ways that we do run away? So running away, as a teenager, I ran away from home. I lived in quite a toxic environment at home. And so when we are in an environment where we're very stressed or there's any kind of toxicity around us, the body, the super, super intelligent body, goes into fight or flight. Have you all heard of fight or flight, yeah? So the body goes into fight. Well, flight is the running away. That's what running away actually is. It's a beautiful survival instinct of the body. It's a mechanism, it's a program, if you like. It's a survival program. Now, the body is amazing because it makes blood. So whenever we need any more blood, the body just makes it. We don't have to tell it to do it. We don't have to be in any particular state to do it. We're very, very stressed. It probably does it a little bit slower. But actually, the body's really brilliant. It makes blood. It makes bones. It helps us to stand up. So we've got the energy pumping around us. We've got the ability to stand. It also knows how to make babies. This brilliant body that I've got knows how to do all of these things. So this survival mechanism, this running away, this fight or flight, is such a brilliant survival mechanism in the body that we need to understand when to take advantage of it. But what happens in our lives today is that we are so stressed. You know, we see a negative comment on Facebook. We get really stressed, especially if you're posting things, or your friends post something and you see somebody's made a negative comment on their post. We get really stressed. So all of these beautifully biological mechanisms are impacted by stress. Stress is going to put all of our energy into fight or flight when the body is stressed. So we lose our brilliance. So we do become bold because we can run or we can fight, but we can't be brilliant when we're really, really stressed. So under stress, what happens is you have this thing called like a prefrontal lobotomy. So all the blood and all of the energy is focusing into the animal part of the brain, which is where fighting and flight can happen. And the brilliance that happens at the front of the brain, we need to not be stressed to really access our brilliance. So one of the other things that happens is that where are we going? Oh. Oh, that was good, wasn't it? We have another mechanism. So it's fight, flight, and fleas. I mean fleas. Well, we all run away from fleas, don't we? But I actually mean freeze. The freeze response is what happens when we can't fight and we can't run. We go into freeze. And that really that takes off even more of the brilliance of the brain. It cuts off, it takes it offline, if you like. So we're programmed to have these survival mechanisms. So fight and flight and freeze are the survival programs that the body has, which keep us alive. They make us survive. These mechanisms are supposed to be very temporary. So if you think about an animal, when an animal gets stressed, so if an animal is going like a deer or something, and it's eating, and suddenly something rustles, it looks. So suddenly it's alert, and it's ready. I don't think a deer would fight, it's probably going to run. But as soon as it has to run, it runs to safety, and then it can relax again. And then the body can release the adrenaline is the chemical that takes us into fight or flight. So when the adrenaline, we have time and safety, the adrenaline can release. And then the body can go back to being brilliant, making more blood, making more babies, if that's what you want to do. But when we get stuck on stress, when we look at Facebook every day and it stresses us out, or when we're in a situation in childhood, the situation that I was in, there was a lot of things going on that were really very stressful. And it was constant. And so there's never time to come out and come back into this brilliant state. And then as an adult, we continue to get stuck in these patterns, stuck in fight or flight, or stuck in freeze. And when we're stuck in these places, that's where procrastination becomes our best friend. Because it kind of keeps us busy, but we don't really have to do anything. We don't have to focus on, the brilliant things that we're capable of achieving. the magic things that we're capable of that might seem a little unrealistic. When we're in this state of procrastination, we stick to what seems super, super realistic. So, what happens when if you don't understand what procrastination is, maybe you'll understand the other things, that you're watching Facebook too much, or you're watching TV too much, or as my brilliant friend Cheryl Chapman says, you do sex or drugs or sausage rolls. So these are our go-to mechanisms. Now, where was I? So running away. So Sister Lawrence on this platform in India, what she helped me to understand through this next little part of the story was brilliant, because she said to me, so because you don't really know why you're going to Kanyakumari, I know what you should do. I need you. I work in a school, I work in an orphanage, and I run a school for young nuns. And they all love to speak English, but their accent is horrible. They need you. They need you to come along and teach them how to speak English. So I went. And this is where I went. I went to a place it's just outside a place called Nagarcoil. It's deep in the mountains in southern India, in Tamil Nadu. It's a gorgeous place. And so I was teaching these young children English. We were singing English nursery rhymes. I was correcting their pronunciation. I was really helping to coach them. And there was so many, there were hundreds of kids. Some of these little ones, they used to little kids like holding your hands to walk around, especially when you're the strange teacher, this new teacher. So I had scabies, one of the gifts that I got from my little Indian friends. We spent the whole day one day. I took them all down to the pharmacy on a bus. It took 3 buses, actually, to get to the pharmacy. And we just bought the pharmacist out of scabies medicine, took it all back to the orphanage. We cleared the orphanage of scabies for the time being. But one of the things that I really loved was these young girls. These were all young nuns. And so they really engaged with me because we were chanting prayers. Now, if anybody knows me, you'll realize this is quite out of character. We were doing lots of prayers. We were doing hymns. I was even doing Bible readings with them. It was all a bit strange for me, but I absolutely loved the experience. What this experience really gave me access to was an understanding that what you really need is to know where you're going, not what you're running away from. You really need to know, where are you going? What do you want? How do you know that you want it? Why do you want it? And when you get some real clarity on that, that's what I call your why. Why are you moving in this direction? What is it that you're moving towards? Why are you going this way? Because when you understand why you're moving towards what you're moving towards, when you stop focusing on what you're running away from, then the body can release the stress. So we'll have a little stress release. So I want you all to stretch your arms up for me and just have a reach up for the ceiling. Feel the weight of your bum in the seat and take a nice deep breath in again. And when you're ready, bring your arms down and exhale. And then just take a very slow inhale, very slow. And then take a really slow exhale. You might even want to blow out, just blow gently over your bottom lip. And when we create a slow, steady breath, especially that exhalation, the blowing over the bottom lip is really nice, that naturally brings down these levels of adrenaline. It naturally brings the body back, brings the frontal cortex online, brings you back to your brilliance. So there are some very simple techniques that can do this. And once you've started to bring your prefrontal cortex back online, your brilliant brain back online, then you can actually start looking and working through whatever the traumas are, whatever the dramas are that have been driving you to run away. You can start looking at how to transform them. But it's really key that in the process of transforming what used to drive you away, that you really build a very clear picture of what you're moving towards. You know, if you drove the whole journey looking in your rearview mirror, you'd be dead, I think. So the survival mechanism's great, but it won't help you to survive all the time. We need to learn how to switch it off, how to step back into our own brilliance. And this trip, when you can't join the dots until you look back. Steve Jobs said it much more eloquently than I just did. But it really is about understanding in hindsight what has brought you to where you are now, because that's going to help you to start clarifying where you're going to move towards in the future. And with Sister Lawrence, the brilliant, beautiful lesson that she taught me, because she knew her why. Her English was brilliant, by the way. Her accent was horrible, but her English was brilliant. But what she knew was she wanted to help these children. She wanted to help them speak better English, and the children are really keen. They were so enthusiastic. I mean, compared to the students that I've worked with in the UK when I've worked with kids, the energy levels, the desire to learn is amazing over there. It's absolutely amazing. And so what I know is the impact that I've had, even though it was her desire, it was her purpose, it was her why that I was actually engaging in, the impact that I've had is now this part of India is full of people who are much more confident about speaking English, because this was over 10 years ago, so these are all adults now. But the best part about this is that they're all speaking with a bit of a Scouse accent. So my message, the clear part of my message that I really want to get across is, if you're not living your why, you will probably be living somebody else's. Because I was living Sister Lawrence's why for those few weeks that I was there. And I loved it. And I had such a brilliant time. But it's not what I wanted to do. It helped me. It really helped me to get some clarity on what it is that I do want to do. But what it didn't do was it wasn't my why. It wasn't my choice. She gave it to me. It was her why, and I lived it for a few weeks. Now, I was very fortunate because it was great. I absolutely loved it. But whose why are you living? What aspects of your life are you doing? Because other people are potentially are annoying you and making you want to run away from them. Do you know where you're running to? Are you just running into the arms of somebody else who's going to push you in their direction? So what is your why? Why do you do what you do? Really get clarity on why you do what you do, and start to peel away the layers that are not completely in alignment with your heart, with your values, with your highest good. Because that's when we make a really brilliant impact on the world. So Lawrence knew her why. I absolutely jumped on board, and I loved it. And so it's up to you to find your why, and you get your own crowd, you get your own tribe to jump on board with you if that's what you need. But you have to have that clarity of direction to do it. So let's stop running away and let's start running towards our why. Thank you.